What's up, everybody? This is Yusuf for Good Games No One Played, and today we are looking at Kingdoms of Amalur: The Reckoning. Or Re-Reckoning, as this game was remade and resold for more money, even though all they really did was upgrade the textures. In this game, you play as a character you name yourself. I named mine Lady Luana. She died in some battle in the opening cutscene. Now she is dead at the morgue, and she gets thrown in a big pit full of dead bodies so that she can be incinerated. But then out of nowhere, she wakes up on a pile of sticky, decomposing dead bodies. Ugh. Of course she has no memory, and only a few people even know who she is. And of course, no one goes out of their way to tell you anything about your past. That would require some sort of writing skill by the authors. So anyway, Amalur is this crazy medieval world with magic and swords and 5 different races of people who are all racist towards each other. And by races, I mean white people, darker white people, blue people, gray people, and white dwarves. Fortunately, they gave the player power to make a black person somewhere in those races, but I don't really think any other people of color were in there. It doesn't matter anyway. I made the protagonist black, and she was basically the only black person in all of the kingdoms. Fortunately, everybody's racism only really extended to those 4 skin colors and not black people. There is one time a dwarf told me that my kind of people are always late.
You are my contact. I should have known. Punctuality is not one of your people's strengths, and you have so few.
And I almost got mad, like, what's that supposed to mean? But then I realized he wasn't talking about black people specifically, but I almost killed him anyway. For the human race. The game has a good amount of positives, but then some of them lead to negatives. Like, there's a nice fighting system with a bunch of different spells and buffs that you can pay for when you level up. You have a lot of options, and that leads to a playstyle that's all your own. The only problem is that the moveset is kind of small for how expansive the world is. You end up mastering more weapons because you kind of run out of stuff to level up for the 2 weapons you chose to be good at. This game has an unbelievable amount of voice acting. I mean, the only person not talking out loud is you.
But why did it work on you and no one else? What makes you different from the others?
It is there, 2 legs, the scent of water. Faint, but it does not escape me. My pack shall hear of your compassion and honor.
But everyone just stands there with no expression and delivers their lines the same way. Because if the tone goes up or down, it wouldn't match the lack of animation.
I don't care what you race. It's a tragedy whenever anyone's savage like this. Just look at the poor creature. She's been beaten to the brink of death.
I mean, come on, dude. That lady just got stabbed. Do something. Call the paramedics. Whatever, man. Don't just sit there. This is understandable for extra stories, but there are 4 main stories, and it would have been nice to have a little extra energy in those characters. So, this is one of those games that was stuck in development hell, and then there's a huge backstory about how much money the devs raised and poured into this game, and how it didn't take off so well because of a bunch of mishandles. The only plan they really had was to make it one of the biggest fantasy games ever, sort of like a schlong measuring contest for game developers, where whoever makes the biggest game wins the prize. This is common for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era. However, at some point, a schlong is too big and only a select group of people can enjoy it. I'm saying this game is so big that I'm going to need more personality if I'm going to take it all in. I think maybe I went too far with the analogy. I mean, this game had some nice flashy fighting combos, stealth kills, and magic spells, and it's clear that the areas were huge to give you a lot of room to do these things in. However, these areas were way too big and didn't have much in them, so you would have to do a considerable amount of running, even with fast travel. And because the areas were so huge, it took the game a long time to load for everything. Then, on top of that, the missions usually get started by you going into a place and talking to somebody when they just as easily could have been outside waiting for you. And I've played games before where the houses are just empty husks and you walk into the doors and they're part of the regular world. But this game has to load every bar and every inn and everyone's house, and everyone you need to talk to is in these houses, and very few of them are just outside. That would have saved a lot of time for the player if they were outside for sure. So you would basically be inside a building to finish a quest or buy something, and then you couldn't fast travel from inside the building. So you would have to leave the building, which is a loading screen, and then when you're outside, you would go to the menu and fast travel, which is another loading screen. Normally, the place you fast travel to would have you appear outside, so then you would have to go inside to talk to another person, which is another loading screen. A lot of times, the game gives you a mission where you need to go into a dungeon to get a MacGuffin or kill a guy. Well, since you can't fast travel out of the dungeons, you would go way deep into there and handle your business, and then it's on you to basically sprint back past everything you just went through instead of just letting us fast travel right out of the dungeon. Sometimes the dungeons are built in a circle and you're right close to the beginning of the place when you finish the quest, but this doesn't happen too often. Why would they do this? I mean, how hard is it just to ask you if you wanted to go outside right after you finish the quest? I think that's the main problem that I have with this game. Most of it is pretty standard for an action RPG. I mean, the dialogue wheels mean nothing. I had maxed out my persuasion skills, and all it really did was have me succeed by having the person I persuaded tell me that I was right, but then just go and do whatever they were going to do anyway. That's standard. The constant picking up things and looting things just to have them mean absolutely nothing to you while they fill up your inventory, and then you having to constantly leave a place and then go to a merchant and sell all of your stuff except for like 3 items, and then go back into the same place so that you can collect more things to repeat that loop. That's pretty standard. Not having all the keys to these chests and then having that burn into your mind until you find the keys and then go back to the chests and then open them up and then find that everything that was in the chest was not worth anything to you anyway. That's pretty standard. But the game is standard in a huge sort of way, and that's supposed to be the selling point? This game is a tall guy who can't play basketball, or a black man with no rhythm, or a Karen with no entitlement, which I guess is just a regular woman. Yep, that's pretty much how this game feels, even in the dungeons. Why they couldn't just give you a horse or something and let you figure out whether or not you want to fight the bad guys after you fast travel, I'll never know. So what happens is you try to maximize your playtime by accepting every quest that you see available. That way, if you're in an area that has more than one objective available, you can do those all together and then finish the quest back at the village where everybody assigned them. But the game kind of loads you with fetch quests that are tacked on upon completion of the previous quest. So you'll finish a set of quests and then come back, and then 1 or 2 of them will be like, Oh, thanks. Can I ask you for one more thing? Then you have to go back to the same spot where you completed all the quests just to do 1 or 2 more quests that are far apart again, so that takes more time. Again, all these things wouldn't be so bad if the game wasn't based in such a huge area, or if any of the characters in the game had any sort of personality whatsoever. That's a thing. I don't know, man. I started this review with a plan to try and convince you to play this game, but now I'm not even so sure I want to finish it. I will, of course. I'm past the point of no rage quit. You know, some games you enjoy for the aesthetics, and some games you enjoy for the campiness. This seems to be one of those games that you would have a fond memory of just because you beat it and it was long as hell. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. I kind of got stuck playing this game at the same time as trying to do a video game plot summary of The World Ends With You. So it's been taking me a really long time to get any of it done. Not that I post a lot, but I thank everybody who subscribed to the channel. My goal is still to get enough subscribers so that I have the power to post messages on your feed that, you know, are just random thoughts or questions as to what games I should play next, things I should actually do for the channel based on what the fans want. Other than, you know, just people being generally mean to me in the comments, I guess. I still love y'all, though. Anyway, you guys have fun. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.